Apple. It's not just a fruit, it's a tech giant that changed the world. From iPhones to MacBooks, we use their products every day, but how much do we really know about the company? Get ready, because these 10 surprising Apple facts will blow your mind. Fact 10. Apple was almost called Matrix Electronics before Steve Jobs settled on Apple. The company could have had a way less appealing name. Matrix Electronics. Doesn't sound as cool, right? The name Apple was chosen because Jobs loved apples and thought it would make the company stand out from tech-heavy names. It sure worked. Fact 9. Apple's first logo was totally different before the iconic bitten Apple logo. Apple's first ever logo was Isaac Newton. Yep, sitting under an apple tree. It was designed by co-founder Ronald Wayne, but Steve Jobs ditched it because it was way too complicated. Enter the simple Apple logo we know today. Fact 8. The first Apple computer was sold for $666.66. Apple's first computer, the Apple I, was sold for the oddly specific price of $666.66. Why? Because co-founder Steve Wozniak liked repeating digits. It sounds spooky, but it was really just a pricing quirk. Today, an original Apple I can fetch up to $500,000 at auction. Fact 7. Apple's cash is worth more than some countries. Apple is so rich, it has more cash on hand than the GDP of some countries. At one point, Apple's cash reserves were over $200 billion. That's more than the economies of Greece and Hungary combined. Imagine having that much spare change. Fact 6. The first iPhone didn't have an app store. Can you believe the first iPhone didn't even have an app store? It launched in 2007, and if you wanted apps, tough luck. You had to stick with the built-in ones like Safari and Mail. The App Store didn't launch until a whole year later in 2008, and now there are over 2 million apps available. Fact 5. Apple was the first company to reach $3 trillion. Apple hit a jaw-dropping milestone in 2022. It became the first company to reach a $3 trillion market value. That's trillion with a T. To put that into perspective, Apple is worth more than the entire GDP of the UK. This fruit is seriously rolling in the dough. Fact 4. Steve Jobs sold his VW van to start Apple. When Apple was just starting out, Steve Jobs had to make a sacrifice. He sold his Volkswagen van for a few $100 to help fund the company. Co-founder Steve Wozniak also sold his HP calculator. They put everything on the line to get Apple off the ground. And well, it paid off. Big time. Fact 3. Siri wasn't created by Apple. Siri, the virtual assistant we all know and love, wasn't actually created by Apple. It was developed by a startup, and Apple bought the company in 2010 for around $200 million. A smart move, because now Siri is in millions of devices around the world. And you thought she was always Apple's creation. Fact 2. The MacBook keyboard is designed to fail. Apple's sleek MacBook keyboard, known as the butterfly keyboard, was super controversial. It looked great but had a tendency to break from even a single speck of dust. So, if your MacBook keys ever acted up, you weren't alone. Millions of users experienced the same problem. Apple eventually replaced it with a better design. Fact 1. Apple almost went bankrupt in the 90s. Believe it or not, Apple was on the brink of bankruptcy in the late 90s. They were losing money fast, and in a surprising twist, Microsoft stepped in with a $150 million investment to keep Apple afloat. Without that deal, we might not have iPhones or MacBooks today. Who knew Microsoft's lifeline would save their biggest competitor? And there you have it, 10 incredible facts about Apple that you probably didn't know. From its humble beginnings to being a trillion-dollar giant, Apple's journey has been nothing short of amazing. If you love these facts, hit that subscribe button for more wild tech stories, and don't forget to drop a like.